Unsyndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Belegian.
All right.
Well, it's been a while.
I'm Sean. It has been a while. How did you have a nice holiday, Shep?
I missed you, man. Yeah, it's been good. It's been pretty good so far. Yeah. How about yourself? Are you caught up in the soccer mania that other people?
Dude, honestly, I think you know this. And it's funny because every few years, it's almost like people are Shep, I love it. Like I don't cram it down people's throats because I know what it is. But honestly.
What do you mean? You know what it is?
It is a niche sport that no matter what people say is never going to go wild in this country. It just isn't.
Thank you.
And I've heard it, Shep. I heard it 50 years ago when Trevor Francis, the great Trevor Francis, came to the Detroit Express. And this was going to change. Oh, you don't understand. We're getting stars now. And the younger generation gets so mad when I say that.
I know.
But the younger generation has to know that this great country is full of stubborn people who are just not going to change their ways.
Well, look, there's only so much we can absorb. There's only so much emotion we can dive into things. So you're right. You and I have heard it since we were 10 years old. Okay.
Yep.
It's fine. I have no issue with it. I got caught up in, the U.S. being part of it. I think it's great. I don't think it spurs anybody on. I don't think it makes kids go, okay, I'm going out. Like, no offense to anybody who feels this way. When that happened with hockey, you could tell there was an uptick. 1980, Gretzky going to Los Angeles, national team development going to the States and being created in Plymouth, first in Ann Arbor, that made a difference. And it's obvious in Team USA. When Team USA wins gold, when Team USA is competing in world championships, when Team USA is winning world junior championships, that tells you the effect.
Yep.
When's the last time the United States got out of the round of 16 in soccer? Men's soccer, I'm sorry.
Yep.
1933. The answer is 1930 flipping 3, Sean. Okay.
Yep.
So it's you can talk about it. I'm glad you love it. I'm glad people are passionate about it. I applaud you. Okay. Please stop telling me this is going to make a difference. And now it's going to take off in the United States. We've got too many other things going on.
It just isn't. I mean, and Shep, this is coming from somebody like I don't think the average person understands how much I love this. I would put this up against the 86 World Cup in Mexico. That's how good this World Cup has been. I mean, seriously, it really has.
Okay.
That was Maradona, the hand of God, the goal of the century, and then they beat the West Germans and everything. It's been phenomenal, but you know what? You aren't grabbing anybody new, man. The people that were watching it in 1986, like me, and all my little buddies on the mean streets of L-Town, are the same people that are watching it today. You're not grabbing any new fans, and that's the thing that. And I know the younger generation gets so upset, you know.
I think you are grabbing new fans. That doesn't mean they're lifelong fans.
Right.
I think you're grabbing fans for a moment. I don't think, and I'm generalizing here, just like you are. I don't think suddenly people are going to start watching, the MLS.
Yes.
And if you think about it, that's part of the reason the United States isn't as good. We're watching players play in the MLS while all these other countries have players in the Premier League.
Yep.
The Premier League in basketball is the NBA based in the United States. The Premier League in the National Football League is based in the United States. Premier League in Major League Baseball based in the United States. The Premier in the NHL primarily based in the United States, with all due respect to our Canadian friends. That's where everybody wants to go. In soccer, people are going, I can't wait to play in the MLS. They want to play over in London and so on and so forth. So good. But I'm glad you're enjoying it. And I know Spain won today 2-0. So now let's see if England can beat Argentina and move on from there, and we'll see what kind of finals it is. But I will say this: congrats to the United States. I think the United States has done a wonderful job in hosting this event. A phenomenal job.
Yep. That is, Shep, you know what? One of the coolest things that I have seen over the past month, and I don't know if you feel the same way, all right?
Mhm.
I think we needed to be reminded by outsiders what a great country this is. Honestly,
Agreed.
and watching all these people, and yeah, a lot of it's silliness. You know, the German guy eating a beef short rib, the young lady from Japan going, "Hey, this pulled pork's delicious," and all that stuff. But listening to all these people just have the time of their life here,
Yeah.
it really does. I think I'm not going to get on a political thing. You know it. I know it. Our country's so divided. There are so many problems. It's been here for so long and everything. It's kind of cool to be reminded with all the people in this country that want to tell you how badly this country sucks.
Yeah.
It's been cool to see people from elsewhere going, man, you guys got it made. Honestly, I know it sounds cheesy, but I've taken a lot of like joy out of watching that. You know what I mean?
Me too, bud. I agree 100%. Tom says it too. He says, love seeing the social media posts from over the sea country. Absolutely. I mean, sometimes you're right. What's the old saying in every Bon Jovi song? You don't know what you got till it's gone. And sometimes we take things,
shout out.
we really do take things for granted. You know,
Yeah.
I love it when guys from Australia are saying, everybody told us that you don't want to go near the beaches. People from Germany said you don't want to go and walk around at night by yourself, that this place is bad and the people are evil. And it couldn't be anything further from the truth. In other words, they're being lied to, oftentimes like we get lied to. So I think it's awesome that the United States and the people here have proven, that they really are good people for the most part. Okay. Of course, we got some bad apples, but everybody does. So the Tigers are at the All-Star break, and there is a massive wave of confidence now with this team. And to a certain extent, I get it. They have the second easiest schedule down the stretch. The easiest schedule is Cleveland. There are 66 games left on your schedule. There are 16 before the trade deadline. I have said this ad nauseum, Sean. Tell me how you feel about it. You don't wait until the trade deadline. You're making your decision before the trade deadline. What's your decision? And before you say, I sell, I need to know who you're selling first and foremost, because the easy thing to do is say, I think the Tigers have to sell. Well, hold on a second. You mean you're going to sell Torres, Baez, Skubal, Anderson, Mize, all the above? Or what exactly are you looking at?
I'll give you that answer in a second. But first, I mean, I need to do a welfare check. I know you have a pretty good relationship with AJ Hinch. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I do.
I just want to make sure that AJ is okay with Jemai being gone. That's all I'm asking, Shep. Is AJ okay? I tell my son on a daily basis, son, your life will be better if you can find you a woman that loves you the way that AJ loves Jemai. And I just want to make sure he's okay. Shep, I think it would be absolutely egregious. I mean that. To keep Tarek Skubal in particular. I'll answer your broader question in a broader way in a second. For people to say to me, well, at least you get a comp pick. It sends a shiver down my spine. Yes. If we are to believe that all these guys are on the cusp of being ready, and I think you know as well as I do, Scott Harris would love nothing more than to have this roster with a vast majority of Scott Harris guys. I think it begins and ends with Tarek Skubal. I think you and I both know he's not going to be here next year. I think Casey Mize too, with the emergence of Melton, with Kiter doing what Kiter has done, with Job coming back. I think he has made himself expendable. I think Glaber has made himself expendable. I don't know what anybody would do with Baez at this point in time. I really don't, even on a prorated contract, Shep. But I am team sell all the way. And just for added benefit, I think people are looking at this the wrong way, Shep. I keep hearing about these numbers. They're only 4.5 back. They're only 2.5 back. They're only 5.5 back.
Right.
What is the number to get in the playoffs? I would say 84 wins. Is that fair? 84 wins will probably get you in the playoffs, right? That would mean the Tigers would have to go 40-26 the rest of the way. I don't feel real good about that, even with the schedule what it is.
Do you think they're capable of that?
No, I don't. Because I mean, look at what we just went through the last month and a half. They were on an incredible heater,
Mm-hmm.
and they went 8 games over 500. You know what I mean? And you're going to have to improve that pace by quite a bit. Now, I understand there are more games in that mix, but I think you know as well as I do the inconsistencies at the plate. I just can't see this team rolling up 40-26 or 41-25 or something like that to punch their way in. Shep, I said it. We probably talked about it the last time we talked a few weeks ago. Man, you can't dig yourself a 16 games under 500 hole. You just can't. I just think that's too many games to overcome. I really do.
Yeah. Look, I don't know about the 84, but if that's your judgment, last year, Detroit was the last team in, right? They had 87 wins. Mm-hmm. Every team in the American League that made the playoffs last year had a minimum of 87.
I'm being very kind if you get the point that I'm trying to make.
I do. And I also think that this is a worse American League than it was a year ago. I think that's fair to say. Okay. So 84. I agree with you for the most part. I don't think you can go into 16 games left before the trade deadline and say, I'm going to trade my top 2 pitchers. I think you have to be careful there. It depends on what you get. I wouldn't want to lose them for nothing. So I hear what you're saying. I mean, you're lucky if people can actually select or identify who a compensatory pick is. But so I agree with you in that regard. I think you got to be careful. Torres, you've been able to play well without him. Baez, you've been able to play well without him. Yep. You can get rid of certain bullpen arms because they've been nothing great. The thing that the tap dance that Scott Harris has to make is, how much is this going to affect my clubhouse? How much is this going to affect other players and have a ripple effect? A guy eventually, does he want to stay here signed like Riley Green? If you're going to throw Skubal and Mize away, why in the world would I want to stick around here? I want to see somebody who is building winners.
Right.
Not that you have to explain everything. I agree with you with Skubal. I'm not so sure about Mize yet, because I do think there is a long-term contract you could do with Mize where you could do, 5 years, at $25 million a year. And I would do that. Even though he's only really started 30 games or more once in his career. So I think because we've been bitten, not just once, but twice, JD Martinez, Justin Verlander, then I think that's the reason most people want to trade Tarek Skubal. The only thing I'd push back on, if Scott Harris wants all his guys, I think he wants good players. I don't think it matters that Riley Green was an Al Avila draft pick. I don't think it matters that Mize and Skubal and Troy Melton. I mean, if he wants all his guys, he's got to get rid of Melton.
I think, Shep, that's why I said most. I'm convinced he does. I'm convinced that the majority of this roster, I'm convinced that he would like them to be quote unquote Scott Harris guys.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, he's going to have a long road because
I know.
Colt Keith, your best defensive center fielder is Parker Meadows. Riley Green, as I mentioned, Dylan Dingler is an Al Avila guy. Mm-hmm. Most of the guys pitching are Al Avila guys. Okay. Jackson Job's an Al Avila guy, right? So you want Kevin McGonigal? I do too. You want Max Anderson or you want Max Clark?
Briseño, yeah,
Briseño, that which he traded for. Max Anderson's an Al Avila guy, is he not? Or is he a Scott Harris guy? Either way, you're gonna have a long road to try and build that up if that's all you're focused on.
Yeah. And I like I said, Shep, it's I'm not saying all. I think he wants to get his guys in. And let's face it, Shep, I don't know what else to say about Torque. I really don't. And he seems like a nice guy. He's never going to become what they thought him to be, what we thought him to be.
Right.
I think guys like Torque, and you yell at me if you disagree. I think guys like Torque are a dime a dozen. I really do. At that position at first base, I think you can find guys a dime a dozen, and there's nothing special there. I don't. And obviously, much has been made, and rightfully so, about his runners in scoring position and bases loaded.
Bases loaded,
yeah. So those are the things that I look at. My biggest fear with this team, though, Shep, is that we lock up a McGonigal, we lock up pick a couple other guys, right? And then we go through this dance 6-7 years from now, right? Okay, well, they did really well. They're finally hitting the prime time, and we have to get rid of them just like we did with Skubal. That's my biggest fear with this team. Now, the dynamics and finances of baseball are going to change, okay? But there just isn't a lot of reason to be optimistic in that regard. How is that?
Yeah, so here's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is that the owner said we'll spend when we need to, and he has spent. I mean, let's be fair. I mean, whether you like Chris Ilitch or not, be fair that his payroll is a top 10 payroll when the season began, okay?
Right.
My fear is that suddenly you lose your high-end guys, your high-money guys, Flaherty, Skubal, Mize, Baez, Torres, okay, except for Framber Valdez. He's the only guy left with $38 million. Everybody else is manageable. Cole Keith's manageable. It's $4.5 million for crying out loud, even though it's a longer-term deal. My fear is that we go back into a situation where it's like, okay, well, now we're going to peel back the payroll, even though we don't know what the CBA is going to look like. We're going to peel back the payroll. We'll spend again when we feel the timing is right. And not, me, Sean, I'm not a big believer. In order for you to be really good, you have to spend, because Toronto is not doing great this year.
Right. It doesn't guarantee anything.
The Mets, okay, the Padres. Don't give me this bull crap that you got to spend money. I want to see how you spend the money. Spend the money wisely. Let me ask you this. Do you think Buster Posey is happy with his team and the amount of money that he spent on Adames and Chapman and all that other stuff when his San Francisco Giants are 41-55? The answer to that is hell no. You think the Mets are happy? Hell no. They want people run out of town. And David Stearns was really smart in Milwaukee. Suddenly he goes to New York and he's dumb. It's like Glenn Sather, really smart at Edmonton. He goes to the Rangers and he's dumb, right? That's my fear. I don't think you have to spend money to be a good team. Otherwise, Cleveland doesn't win the division in back-to-back years, okay?
Right.
Milwaukee doesn't win their division 3 years in a row, even though they lost their manager, Craig Counsell. But you have to be willing to spend money. And if they're not willing to spend the money, Sean, because it's a quote-unquote rebuild and we've got young guys, then you're going to have a really difficult time convincing the fan base that you're in it to win.
Shep, I love to hear. I want to, 100%. And I want to rewind for a second. Something you said a few minutes back. I had a conversation with somebody, and I'm not going to call him dumb. I just did. But we were talking about the whole Casey Mize thing, and he suggested a contract of 16, 17 years, and I started laughing. I said, "You're out of your mind." I said, "There's no way in Hades that contract, his next contract, doesn't start with a 2." And you threw 25 out there, Shep. I thought I was being nice saying 20. Bare minimum 20. I couldn't agree with you more, regardless of what people think about Casey Mize, okay? And I don't know how you could argue with what he's shown the last year and a half, by the way. And this is coming from a guy who had convinced himself that he was just a guy. He's going to get a contract that starts with the number 2. I couldn't agree with you more than probably 25.
100%. I'd love to know who says 16 million. Alex Cobb had 15 million last year.
Right.
Okay. I want people to think about this. He was 37 years. I don't know who it is you spoke to, but obviously they do not do their research very well. He was 37 years old. He had only won 7 games the year before, or 2 years before. He only pitched 3 games the year before the Tigers signed him to $15 million a year. Casey Mize walks into any courtroom and says, Jack Flaherty, $25 million. Alex Cobb, $15 million. I'm better than both of them.
100%.
I want at least $25 million. I can't believe somebody actually said that. And if Casey Mize had an agent who was willing to take that, he should fire that agent. If I'm Casey Mize's agent, I'm starting absolutely with a 2. The bigger question is, how close to a 3 is it?
Well, Shep, you know as well as I do, guys love doing hometown discounts and saying, yeah, you know what, I'm just gonna take less because I'm happy where I'm at.
Yeah,
It is
absolutely. They can always come back, Sean. It happens in every sport. I mean, all you got to do is look at it. I mean, Dennis Rodman came back. John Sally came back. Of course, it happens all the time. Justin Verlander, let's trade him and get him back. It happened with Jack Flaherty, so everybody thinks that's the norm, and it's not even close to being the norm. And by the way, I didn't want Jack Flaherty back. Now he's been better as of late, but I didn't want him back. So.
Especially not at that number. Shep, that's why I go back. When you look at Scott Harris trade deadlines, it makes me shudder because there was Erod, there was the Flaherty deal with Lorenzo and Sweeney, and then we got the guy back at a higher rate and less results, and then obviously the debacle with last year. And that's what makes me worry. I mean, obviously Scott knows what he's doing and he's got an eye for talent. I think we all, regardless of your personal feelings about him, I think you have to give him some credit for that. My greatest fear, Shep, is he's a talent evaluator. He's a scout. He's not a general manager. He's not Dave Dombrowski. He's not, the guy that's going to make good deals. That's my greatest fear right now.
Yeah, I get that. I worry about those deals too. Both trade deadlines have not been good. I loved the signing of Framber Valdez. I thought it was fantastic. I think that was universally embraced.
Agreed. Yeah.
I did not like the signing of Jack Flaherty. I thought there was too much money. I didn't like the Paddock. I didn't like Cobb. I really liked Finnegan. I thought that was really good. So, I mean, you're going to win some and lose some. I think you and I both understand that. But I'm just stunned that people are actually out there thinking that, I mean, Casey, I just can't get over it. Casey Mize is going to go in, man, and he's going to Zach Gallen. He's making $22 million, Sean. Of course, Casey Mize is going to ask for that stuff. So 100%. What they're going to have to do is they're going to have to say, what's our payroll? And then they're going to have to divvy it up the way they feel fit. You better get ready to pony up for Riley Green.
Yep.
Okay. I know people love McGonigal. I do too. Riley Green's your best player. Mm-hmm. He's your best overall player. Okay. You can focus on the 201 strikeouts last year all you want. Strikeout rate is down. Walk rate is up this year. Hard hit rate is up. Power isn't. But 36 bombs last year, 111 RBIs, first starting outfielder for the Tigers in back-to-back seasons since Al Kaline. 3 straight all-star appearances, first one since Miguel Cabrera. He's neither one of those players. Just about every team in Major League Baseball would want him in left field because of now he doesn't have a great arm and he doesn't run.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, if you think this is what about you and I always talk about expectations. If you expect Ken Griffey Jr. with him, you're going to be really disappointed. Mm-hmm. But he's a really good player. I mean, look at his WAR, look at the results. He's a very good baseball player. You better get ready to pony up for him too. Torkelson, you want to go away, that's fine. But this organization's got some serious decisions to make. While they're locking up guys like McGonigal and Keith, and I get it, you should be positioning yourself to lock up your steady middle of the lineup bat. And the big knock on him, Sean, if you recall, in the first 2 years, will he ever stay healthy? He's played in every game but one this year. Yeah. He's playing on a regular basis more games than anybody else, and you need him.
And he's doing it running like a gazelle with a broken hoof. I mean, watching that guy, it hurts. I mean, he's running on hot coals, Shep. I mean, he is. I mean, mad respect for the guy. Yeah. He's no Trader Jack. By the way, Austin, thanks for the suggestion. We're going to check out the mountain up north. Shep, we're going to Rogers City this weekend. Heading up. So Austin suggested a restaurant on the way up called The Mountain. Breaking news, Larkin expands dinner demand from filet, lobster, and king crab legs to also include Wagyu. All right. Shep, I had a feeling that was going to September. You and I talked about that in early June, and I'm sticking to it. I think you're going to see Steve Yzerman dig in and his presser. You knew what was coming. I'm going to do what's in the best interest of the Detroit Red Wings Hockey Club, and that's first and foremost. And I think we're looking at the very uncomfortable proposition of that late September home opener because they're expanding to 84 games this year. I think we're I think we're staring that right in the eye.
The fact he's gonna be on the Red Wings.
I'm convinced.
If he doesn't do something, it's everybody. I think you and I talked about this. Everybody thought he had all the power. I said it's just the opposite, completely the opposite. The ball's not in his court. If you may have all the power if you have a long list, but if you got a list of 3 teams, that power is negated because Steve Yzerman does not care, and he shouldn't. And I don't blame him one bit. So I asked a former player this the other day. How do you feel when he steps into your locker room? And the guy goes, I freaking can't stand him.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to jump ship. I'm done. I said, okay. Yep. He said, privately. I would never say that publicly. I said, right. What do you do about the C? He can't be the captain of this franchise. It's impossible, right? And the player said, I'd let him decide. Do you feel worthy of wearing that? Because then he's got to own it with his teammates. Yep. And in all likelihood, he relinquishes the C. Here's what Dylan Larkin's camp, I'd love your thoughts on this. I don't think his camp first understood the landscape of this situation, that he's got 5 years left on a deal. And he just thought, okay, people are going to want him because of the Olympic gold medal, and people are going to want him because he's relatively cheap, right? I mean, it's a good deal at $8.7 million. All right.
Right.
But the other thing is that he is now, a lot of people now are on the side of Steve Yzerman. They weren't at the beginning. I don't blame him. Steve Yzerman didn't do what he was supposed to do. I was one of those guys. He hasn't. You and I have talked about this. Larkin's unwillingness to expand the list by more than just one team beyond the original 3 has really made, I think, Steve Yzerman look even stronger and more Detroit oriented.
Shep, I got killed. You might remember I got killed. You and I talked about it, and I sent out a tweet that was tweeted a bunch of times and everything. And I reminded people of what you were just talking about. And basically what you were just talking about, Shep, is Steve Yzerman has all the leverage. Whether they want to admit it or not is inconsequential. And I reminded people about what he did in Tampa. Not only did he do it in Tampa to Marty St. Louis, he made Jonathan Drouin for a year and a half. He waited for a year and a half, Shep. He sent him down to the AHL. He brought him back up. He waited a year and a half until the deal that worked out 100% for his squad was consummated. And in the process, he fleeced the Habs. He really did. It was the Sergachev deal, and he fleeced the Habs. This is Steve Yzerman's chance to undo a lot of the bad things that he's done. And that's the other side of this. I'm really tired. There are some, not a lot, some apologists in this town. And I heard somebody say, well, you have to remember what he took over. I think that argument was valid 3 years ago, Shep.
Agreed.
When you've been at the helm now for all these drafts, he's had 25 picks in the first 2 rounds of the draft, 10 in the first round, 15 picks in the second round. Okay.
He's had like 60 some odd picks overall. Yeah.
Exactly.
Before this year.
This is on you now. By the way, shout out to Mark Beaufait's parents who are watching right now down in Florida.
Orlando Solar Bears. All right.
Legend. Absolutely legend down there.
Really good dude. Really good dude.
Yeah. But Shep, that's the thing that I don't think people thought that and I'm really surprised that an agent who's been around the block, and you probably talked to him. I've talked to him in the past. Like Pat Brisson didn't go, Dylan, do you want some friendly advice?
Right.
Steve isn't the guy into playing a game of chicken with.
Right.
Like, do you think you're going to outplay this guy in chicken? This isn't the guy to play chicken with. I'm kind of surprised at that, to your point,
100%. The only thing I would say about the Jonathan Drouin, correct me if I'm wrong here, Sean, I think he was 21 or 22.
Yes.
I think it's a fair example. Don't get me wrong, but he was really young in his career. This is different with Larkin at age going into 30 and being a 10-year vet. So I think there's Steve. I think Steve Yzerman, I think you're right. He's going to stand pat until he gets what he wants and make it uncomfortable for Larkin. And quite honestly, it's going to be uncomfortable for everybody else because you're in that locker room with a microphone. You're asking everybody about it.
Oh,
Any
100%.
road trip. This is what I said. You and I were doing this podcast a year ago before the baseball season. And I said, here's what's going to happen. It's going to dominate every broadcast. And every time somebody goes on the road, they're going to ask about Scooble because it's up in the air. That's exactly what's going to happen here. Yep. Steve Eisman doesn't have to worry about that. He's not in the locker room. It doesn't matter. You're going to have to deal with it. Okay. This is just the way it is. You're going to have to put this stuff. You have to deal with this stuff. I do agree with Austin. He says, my guess is no one wears the Seaside or wears it when he leaves. Wings aren't in a rush about it. Right. There's no reason to have it. They'll have 3 alternate captains. It'll be Raymond, it'll be Sider, and it'll be man I don't know.
Do you know, Shep, the one thing I will say about the Druin situation, because somebody was said, well, Druin wasn't all that. I think people forget at the time. He was the number 3 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And back then, people thought he'd be better than his teammate, Nathan McKinnon. I mean, so it was kind of crazy. He was a really highly thought of commodity, and it goes to prospects and all that stuff. So when people said that, I was like, maybe you don't follow junior hockey. He was really supposed to be the shit. Unfortunately, there's some problems up there, and I'm not being disrespectful when I say that. He kind of had some problems and everything. So, Shep, there's a deal to be made. There's a massive deal to be made. I'll say it again. I look at Montreal. He would be you and I, Larkin on the second line, Demidov on the right side. You could put Shep or Sean on the left side, and I'm convinced we'd get 40 points.
Not me. Not me. But I
200. He'd be Gretzky again, you know?
And I agree with you. People who think that about Jonathan Druin. I mean, I think he was drafted behind McKinnon and Barkov and ahead of Seth Jones, I believe.
Yeah.
You can correct me if I'm wrong there.
God, absolutely.
I can't, it's such a here and now argument. Oh, he did that with Jonathan Druin, but Druin wasn't considered all that good. Bullshit. Yeah, he was. He was considered really good. I mean, just please stop that stuff. It's like when people tell me there's no way the Tigers are going to do anything in the playoffs. And I said, okay. And it's not like I'm a staunch defender of what they're doing. But I said, okay, so just so I'm clear, you thought Indiana was going to win the national championship in football, and Michigan was going to win the national championship in basketball, and the Knicks were going to win the NBA title, and the Las Vegas Knights with 3 more points than the Red Wings were going to play for a Stanley Cup. We don't know, okay?
Yeah.
The Brad Pitt line from Moneyball, you think you do, you don't.
Yep.
You don't.
Nope.
So we don't know. But we do know that Dylan Larkin wants out. We do know it's an uncomfortable spot for everybody, and we do know it's going to continue to dominate. I want to know from you before we're out of here what the final straw was, because my belief is it started with the public opinion and the disappointment from 2 years ago, and I think it happened. I think the final straw was an unwillingness to trade for Quinn Hughes. Larkin knows Hughes really well. I have it on pretty good authority that he sat down with Hughes. He and Kane and I believe DeBrincat sat down with Quinn Hughes before the season and said, we want you. And Steve Eisman wouldn't pull the trigger because, as we know, Quinn Hughes wouldn't sign a long-term deal, which looking back at it is obviously a mistake. And I think what Steve didn't recognize is that Quinn Hughes could draw others in.
And I think we're seeing this right now with Guerin. Guerin was willing to take that bet, and you couldn't negotiate with him until after July 1. And all of a sudden he seems a little more willing to do that. Shep, I think there were a couple things. The first thing that I remember, you remember when they called Kosa up and the boys in the room were like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then they immediately sent him down. Mm-hmm. And Dylan came out. It was around Thanksgiving, not last year, the year before. And he goes, hey, listen, I wanted the guy to stay here. This is, I know the boys in the room, there was kind of a blow to it and everything. And then obviously we know what happened at trade deadline. There's an arrogance with this franchise right now. And I think it's becoming harder and harder to ignore it, that we know what we're doing. We've done it before. We have to stay the course. All the things that he talked about 7 years ago, they don't ring as true today, because I don't think that you have that plethora of talent in the system right now. And it's easy for Steve because I don't care what anybody says. When I hear people say he's on the hot seat, Shep, I don't believe it in any way, shape, or form. I do not believe it. I don't think his seat is above 40 degrees. Like, honestly, I don't. But
I think it would be hot. I think it would be hotter if Larkin didn't ask for the trade.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because Larkin has asked for the trade, I think it's actually gotten cooler because people think you're going to get young and upcoming players, not prospects, but maybe NHL-ready guys that maybe won't make this big a difference. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't understand that logic. If I'm a contending team, why would I want to give up pieces of why I'm a contending team? I think it doesn't make sense to me. But but really, Shep, I think Dylan Larkin looked at this like any rational human being. Okay, this team is nowhere nearer to really competing right now than they were 3 years ago. And I firmly believe that the guys in that room know that better than anybody.
Yeah. The strides, they haven't made strides. They've taken minuscule steps, and he hasn't seen the progress. I think he also looks at it and goes, where are these young guys that you're holding on to that are going to be so damn good that we can't part with? I mean, if they're that good, where the hell are they? And there's now you and I are just talking ourselves into saying we understand what Dylan Larkin's coming from. He just went about it the wrong way.
I agree. No, that's it. Both things can be true, Shep.
Sure.
I don't blame you for your frustration. This is one of those, I use the line all the time. Well, not anymore. My kids are a little older and they're smarter than me now. But when they were little, I always used to say, what were you hoping to accomplish? Like, tell me what you were hoping. And that's what I'd really see to Dylan Larkin right now. Did you think this was going to be something that was just going to be easy and wasn't going to be long and drawn out? So
exactly. Oh, Vegas will want me. Florida will want me. Minnesota will want me. Oh, maybe I should have looked at who else they could have gotten that will help them. And I should have looked at maybe their payrolls and just how limited they would be. And by the way, what they would have to offer to Detroit to get me. Yep. And I don't think they looked at any of that, which surprises that I'm saying that because these guys have been around for a long time. That is just due diligence. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Okay. So this is going to be, what's more intriguing to you? The Skubal situation or the Larkin situation? And if you say, oh, it's Larkin because Skubal wants to be here, I'm going to have to cut your hamstring.
No, I said that's. I think the Larkin thing. I really, because you're falling further and further behind. There is an arms race going on right now. Okay, Russia is stockpiling in Eastern Poland and East Germany, and they hid some missiles in Czechoslovakia. And Ronnie Reagan is building those nuclear missiles at an incredible pace right now. And in the meantime, Steve is sitting there doing absolutely nothing. They are falling further and further behind. They really are. To the point where if I were a betting man right now, I would bet that the Detroit Red Wings are dead last in the toughest division in hockey. I really would. I would bet that they're dead last.
Sean, you said it 2 years ago before the season began. It's the toughest division in hockey. I countered by saying, I think it's the toughest division in professional sports.
Probably is. Hey, one thing before we go. Do you think the Tigers make the playoffs?
Here's what I think. I think there's going to be teams that are going to do something. The Yankees are not going to sit on their hands. Seattle's not sitting on their hands. All right. I don't know how many teams in the Central are going to do something. Tampa's going to do something. Boston has won 9 or 10 games, 9 games in a row, 10 games in a row, something like that.
Yeah.
12 or 13. They're going to add. So that's another reason why they've got to do something. Everyone's talking about the easy schedule. They've played really good against good teams. They played really poor against bad teams.
Imagine
so I think they're going to trade Tarek Skubal. I think that's going to be a really tough pill for people to swallow. And I would find it hard to believe they would be able to recover from that. So I'm going to say no, unfortunately, even though I hope I'm wrong. You?
I agree with you. I think they're gonna make a push and they're gonna fall just short. Around 500. Around 500. How's that?
Yeah, they're making the push right now. I think part of it is this. We don't believe Chicago's good because we don't know anybody on Chicago.
Right.
We think Cleveland is cheap because they have been cheap. Keep in mind, they've been able to paddle water without Jose Ramirez.
Mm-hmm.
And what we forget, because we get tunnel vision, we forget that Boston's making a surge. Toronto's probably going to add, okay, because they're not going to sit idly by with that payroll after doing what they did in the offseason. The teams in the East, Tampa, New York, Boston, Toronto, are all going to add. Seattle's going to add. I still think you got to win the division. Can you catch Chicago? No question, but they're flying high, right? Can you overtake Cleveland without Jose Ramirez until he gets back? I don't know. That's a great question. I just don't. You got to win the division in order for you to get in the playoffs, I think.
Very quickly, who you guys rooting for in the World Cup? I have to admit, I want to see England finally do it, but Messi getting to another final is like watching Brady win his 7th Super Bowl. I'm intrigued at the Spanish story. I am. There's no stars there. Everybody's talking about the stars on the other 3 teams. Obviously, they beat France today. I love the way that Spain plays. It's methodical. It's pass, 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 pass. Wear you down, wait for something to break. So I couldn't care less. I won't lose a second sleep if Spain doesn't win. But just to answer your question, if I had to pick one, how about Spain?
I have no idea. I just know Spain's only allowed the most goals they've allowed in any game this World Cup is 1.
Yeah.
So if you believe defense wins championships, apparently they are the team that has the equivalent of Lawrence Taylor. I don't care who wins. I don't know who's going to win. That's my little nugget of soccer information for the entire year.
Shep, listen, let's talk again next week, and we'll be
brother.
One week closer to football. Okay.
Yeah, it's great to see you again.
I am yearning for the Hall of Fame game. I have problems right now. I mean, that's where I'm at right now, Shep. Okay.
100%. You're talking football. I'm talking football. And you're talking in the morning. I'm talking in the morning. Got to have it because how much longer can you fill with Dylan Larkin soap opera? Exactly. And what should we do about Tarek Skubal? Okay. Join us in the chat. Thanks very much.
All right. Always a pleasure. Take care. Thank you guys for joining us. Shep, we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. God bless y'all. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.